Godzilla vs. Kong is finally here, and our video about Kong's Skull Island is too. We already covered a bit about the story of Godzilla in case you didn't know, so you can check it out right here. Now if you liked Godzilla 2014, I'm sure you loved Kong 2017. Why? Because it had more monsters, more Sam Jackson, more CG, more fights, more Sam Jackson, more and better story, more Sam Jackson. Man, can't even remember a single Jackson scene from Godzilla. Anyway, let's begin. Are you sure the studio won't get Sam Jackson to, bring together a pair of remarkable kaijus, see if they can become something more? No? Okay. The story begins in 1944, in the middle of the South Pacific. Two men falling from the sky after an airplane fight. One American, one Japanese, trying to kill each other in the middle of the jungle on the edge of a cliff, with no clue whatsoever if they'll ever go back to their countries. That's what I call commitment. They start fighting, and I don't think you can hold a katana like that with your bare hands. But who cares? Because there is a giant ape behind you guys. A few years later, in 1973, Bill Randa and Houston Brooks are trying to get more funding for Monarch, an organization which searches for monsters all around the world, like Godzilla, King Kong, the Loch Ness Monster, Harvey Weinstein, and Cthulhu. Whatever. They say they've got a satellite photo of an uncharted island with the shape of a skull, and that there are many legends about the place. They also have a picture of a chef that looks exactly like my shoes when my dog finds them. So yeah, it's legit. But despite the overwhelming evidence, this politician is saying no. Houston then says a Russian satellite will pass over the island the next day, and it's Cold War, so let's pack the bags. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, Lieutenant Packard is disappointed as the war is almost over and, well, they didn't win.
And we didn't lose the war. We abandoned it.
Okay, sorry. That makes this man and his man the perfect choice to come along to the island. Despite already having Sam Jackson, Randa wants one more man to join them. Loki. Oh, no? No, Randa is looking for Captain James Conrad, and despite he isn't as magic, as gaudy, or as Nordic as Loki, he's still a solid choice. Look at him dealing with this man at the bar. Dang it, it's like 70s John Wick. Conrad warns Randa about all the dangers they could find on the island, like diseases and wild animals. But Randa is like, don't worry Paul, we've got an expert dealing with snakes on a plane, and just in case we'll call Captain Marvel. I heard she's stronger than Thanos. That sounds reliable enough. So the mission is basically to get to the island, drop some bombs to create vibrations and map the subsurface of the place. By the way, they all have to reach the opposite coast of the island 3 days after arrival for extraction. Remember that. The mission starts with some good old Black Sabbath that we can't play here cause copyright. But it's pure power. Unfortunately, it seems like palm trees can't fly here. Kong is obviously not happy about the bombs. This ain't gonna end well. Few soldiers survive, and now Packard is even more pissed off than before. Yeah, that look is more intense than Zoolander's Magnum. Randa confirms Packard's suspicions. The trip was never meant to be geographical. Everything was planned to take out Kong from his hiding and kill it. As the main goal of Monarch is to keep humans in power by taking care of massive creatures like the ones seen in Godzilla. The only problem is that there is no evidence of those creatures. And for that reason, Monarch can't get more funding. Now with the group split in two, Loki, Captain Marvel, and some more survivors try to establish contact with the rest without luck, while the other group is dealing with a giant spider. Oh my god, that's the stuff of my nightmares. Conrad and his group find some ruins seemingly painted by Picasso. What's that? New tendencies in abstract art? But they are not alone, and get surrounded by people wearing the same design. The tension is broken by this man, the American pilot who crashed on the island 28 years ago. He takes them to a village where they learn about the story of the island. Time ago, people lived in fear because of the many dangers of the place until the parents of Kong started to protect them for some reason. They eventually died, and Kong became the king of all the creatures, except for the terrible skull crawlers. Those things are nasty, and they live below the surface, and with all those bombs, they came out to say hello. Kong has no problems against the small ones, but the old pilot says there's a big one, the one that killed the parents of the king. Whew, let's hope that thing doesn't show up. The group is planning to get to extraction point by boat, or what's left of it. Captain Marvel, aka Mason Weaver, hears an animal which got caught under the tail of one helicopter. She tries to help, but for some reason she can't leave that thing. That's a little weird, cause I remember she was carrying that spaceship in the Avengers. So Kong has to help, looking at her like, well, I respect that. The two groups finally make radio contact, but don't cheer up too much, cause those dinosaur-like things get one man. At Rendezvous Point, Sam Jackson says they have to go west to rescue Major Chapman, who I didn't mention before cause sadly he's not that important for plot, and Lieutenant Parker is just using that as an excuse to fight Kong. Remember the look? Fire was coming out of those eye sockets. They get to a massive graveyard. Actually, you can even see the skulls of Kong's parents there. Suddenly they hear something near, so everybody hides real fast. A skull crawler comes and apparently it's about to throw up. When it finally does, we can see the nameplate of Major Chapman. When they are about to get out of that place, Randa is devoured by the creature, then a soldier and another one using the flamethrower is killed when he explodes after being thrown to a skull. This makes a lot of toxic gas explode too, so Conrad has to make his way through the gas with a katana to save that young man in a spectacular scene. Wow, that's style! But the way Mason saves the day by throwing a lighter in a place with a lot of gas and killing the monster. Despite knowing Chapman is dead, Randa still wants to go west to the crash site to get weapons to kill Kong. I told you Chapman was just an excuse. After a small fight, the group splits in two once again, Randa leading the weapons recovery team and Conrad the more sensible group of people. Randa sets a trap for the giant ape and wow, what's with Sam Jackson's looks? Someone could get killed by it. Kong is caught on fire, but looks really painful and passes out, so soldiers set up charges around the king. Conrad gets there, preventing Randa from pressing the button and detonating the whole thing. Conrad and Mason try to make Randa understand it was humans in the first place who pissed off Kong by throwing those bombs. The rest of the soldiers get the message. Kong is not the bad guy in this movie. That's for sure. I mean, the movie's named after him. But a skull crawler comes out of the lake, and dang, it's probably the big one. Cause it looks big. And it's one. Oh, and Randa was smashed by Kong. What's left of the group finally gets to the edge of the island, but the monster fight is right behind them. Let's see some of that. Kong is about to be beaten, but humans help him out with some big guns, while Kong gets the screw of a ship that was lying around. The skull crawler is finally killed when Kong removes its tongue. Yeah. The group finally sets off and we can see some helicopters in the distance. During the credits, we have some footage of the old pilot getting home with his wife and his son. Oh, happy ending! Aww. In a post-credit scene, we get a look at some cave paintings about Godzilla and more kaijus, setting up Godzilla, King of the Monsters. That's about it, people. If you like this video, well, like it. Leave a comment, share with your friends, and subscribe. Have a nice day, and see you soon. Bye.